सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। We are moving into this chapter 20, the Supreme Reality. Right up to this chapter, Illusions, if you are smart enough, you can pick up those ideas of your own. There is no problem. Up to the chapter in the book, from the introduction to Vedanta, chapter to the previous chapter, 19th chapter, Illusions, if you have the earnestness and the right application, you can derive all that material on your own. Everything can be derived by yourself. You don't require a guru. The scripture, Vedanta, is not required. It's not a must. Up to that point, up to the last chapter, it's not a must. But however, if you have that, it's an added advantage. That is a different thing. But up to this point, you can do it on your own to a large extent. If you can have the sharpness of your intellect, you can derive it. You can say, sir, this whole world is illusion. All that it requires is a keen eye to look in, a sharp observative eyes. If you have, you can derive that by yourself. But the next two chapters, that Supreme Reality and that the what, these two chapters, beyond the scope of the student. Whoever you are, no matter, even if you are an Upanishadic student, no matter whoever you are, you cannot progress beyond that chapter. That is why in the chapter he starts with Upanishadic invocatory prayer, indicating the subsequent chapters, the material that you are going to study is Upanishad. These two chapters. And for these two, the material that you have in these two chapters cannot be derived by yourself with your intellectual derivations. However objective you can be, however sharp your intellect can be, you can't progress beyond Maya. So you start with this inquiry. Now when we do that last chapter, I will give you the total, right? The entire book, I'll give you the sequence. Now I'm just giving you the sequence of the third section. We started off with this inquiry of what is the role of religion. What is this idea called religion? What is the right usage of it? What is the wrong usage of it? And what is positive religion and what is negative religion? We started with that. And we concluded that this idea of religion is to explore and evolve, grow. If you have to do that, you need to start from what is known to you. What is known to us is the world. So we started the inquiry of the world. There we understood that the world is made up of various laws. Law means what? You have no choice but to follow. That's called a law. You are not given a choice. And remember, laws are meant for human beings only. There are no laws for animals. There is no such thing called a law for animals. Laws meant for humans to follow. So you have to follow a particular pattern. So that is what we have observed. We have seen that. So for every action that we perform, there is a consequence. Every cause has an effect. And a stage you can say that I don't care about the law. You can afford to take a stand. I don't care about the law, provided under only one condition you can take a stand like that. That is, whatever be the consequence, I am willing to accept it. If I am willing to go through any consequence, then I need not worry about the law. Isn't it? I'll jump the signal, sir. When that's what one lady did. I think in Germany or somewhere. She, there was a breakup with her, boyfriend. So before she could declare that breakup, she took his car for 1 week. Went around all over the city, jumping all signals, making all possible traffic violations. And the fellow got a ticket for about, 10 lakhs. Now he doesn't care about the consequence. You see, so long as you mind the consequence, so long as you are taking a stand that, sir, certain consequences are palatable to me, certain consequences are unpalatable to me, then you better follow the law. Okay? If I follow the law, what will happen? Nothing is going to happen. You will be in the world. Which world? Next chapter. Even then, by following law of karma, you are not going to be transcending the world. You will live in the world happily. That's about it. Then, what world? You say, the world that you are experiencing is based on that perception. Perception. What is perception, etc.? We analyzed it next. Is perception purely physical? We found that no. Perception is less of physical, more of intellectual, inferential. Isn't it? So all that we have studied. So I'm not going to explain all that now. Okay. So don't ask me to explain that now. In the chapter Theory of Perception, we saw that. Then we found how are we going to account for the world. Accounting for the world is happened through two ideas, idealism and realism. And then there is a tussle between the two. Vedanta came in and reconciled the two and then established something beyond. There is something standing as a substratum. Without the substratum supporting the subject, without the substratum supporting the object, there is no possibility of the interplay of the subject and object, which is perception. So, the substratum which is supporting the subject and the substratum which is supporting the object is what is concluded as reality. Okay. Then what is my perception? Next chapter is that what you are perceiving is illusion, Maya. You cannot call it as real, nor can you call it as unreal. Then what is it, sir? It is just a appearance. It appears to be real. In essence, it is unreal. It has appearance of reality. And then we found there are two types of illusions playing. What are the two types of illusions? Extrinsic illusion and intrinsic illusion. There are two illusions playing. We are caught up in these two illusions. Then you transcend these two illusions. You understand that the world, erstwhile world that you have been experiencing, is nothing but Brahman. Exactly like the erstwhile fearful snake is nothing but rope. Rope you don't understand. Okay, you understand that snake is not real. Illusion chapter gives you only that. It says the snake is not real. Then what is it? It has to be this. This is the teacher came and told us. The guru comes and says. The Shastra comes and says that is. And now we have started the inquiry from the world. We derive the laws. You follow those laws. Still you are not satisfied. You further probe. You understand it is just perceptive. The world that you are experiencing is just a perception, and that perception is illusory. Then what is reality? If all that is known to me is illusory, then what? There is a vacuum. All that is known to you is only two things, you and the world. This inquiry of theory of perception and illusions has established one fact. What is it, sir? You and the world that you are experiencing both are illusory in nature. They don't stand the test of reality. Since both are not standing in the test of reality, we ask this question, sir, then what is real? Is there anything called reality? But there has to be something real, no? Because without any reality, without any substratum, how can something be superimposed on that? There has to be a rope to superimpose a snake on that. If there is no rope, no snake can be superimposed on that. So we have understood this part of it, but then I am stuck now. What to do? Beyond that, you cannot progress. Up to this, you can even come to your own conclusions. From there, he takes over. Yes. In fact, Vedanta treatise, essentially, if you have to study only these two chapters, the supreme reality and that the what. That's all. Only these two things. Well, then he is so compassionate, he comes down to our level, where he says, Vedanta procures peace, Vedanta procures prosperity, Vedanta gives you this, Vedanta gives, how much he has to entice the person to take this subject. And then he carries, shoulder to shoulder, like Ramtirtha says, ideas are built and presented in a beautiful arrangement. Slowly he builds the ideas. And then how do you deal with actions, how you deal with emotions, what are certain, basic, elements of life, what are certain values that you need to practice, and then what is a human composition, this beautiful development of idea. And finally, he is breaking the climax here. Of course, the climax is coming in the next chapter, not here. Right? The knot is getting released only in the last scene. Right, like that. KGF chapter 3, you see, no? After the movie got over. Those who have seen the movie will understand. The movie over, villain dead. They send a missile. The ship was broken to pieces. The government reports that the person is dead. That's all. Everybody is surprised. My God, what happened, man? Raki Bhai dead. And they close the file. And when they are going to keep the file in the godown, they see chapter 3. Then they break it. Now, what is this? Like they asked, they did that in that, Bahubali movie also. Why Kattappa killed Vijayendra Bahubali? That's a father. He killed him. Why Kattappa killed Bahubali? Find out. Yes, like that. It is a surprise. There is a twist. The final twist in the next chapter. And this chapter is where he gives the material, the supreme reality. The first thing he establishes here is what is Brahman? What is that reality? That's the first topic, the supreme God. Last chapter he established the world is God. Now he is establishing that God is supreme. And he gives certain indicative definitions for Brahman, God. Because you can't define Brahman, you can't define God. You can only give certain pointers, can be given. So it gives few pointers. Beautiful effort. That's where we see the compassion of these masters. How much they struggle to communicate that which cannot be communicated. And they know it cannot be communicated. It's not that they don't know that. Remember. You see, it's not that they believed it can be communicated, they attempted to communicate something which cannot be communicated. No, they know this cannot be communicated, but still they attempted to communicate, and to surprise, they succeeded in that also. In that attempt, Vedanta succeeded in that. All other systems failed. And this is the system that succeeded in that attempt. Then, after this indicative definitions of Brahman, certain manifestations of Brahman given. Is that manifestations? How that Brahman manifests. What is Brahman? And certain indications were given to understand what is Brahman. Then, how does that Brahman manifests? Next topic, negation and assertion. The process of negation and assertion. What are you supposed to do? Negate the manifestations and assert the underlying reality. So that process is given. And then fascinating way he presents that supreme reality with this concept of Trinity, the idea of Trinity. Right? Fascinating explanation of that. Concluding with the three schools of thought, the three popular schools of Vedanta is Advaita, Visishtadvaita and Dvaita. These are the three schools of thought. Advaita, Shankara, Vasishtha Advaita, Ramanuja, Dvaita, Madhva. How the idea of Brahman is communicated by these three masters from three different angles or three different stages. Either case you can take. Right? This is how it is progressing. The progressive way of. Like Vivekananda says, it is a ladder, he says. Dvaita, Vasishtha Advaita, Advaita. This is the first step, Dvaita. Second step in the ladder. It is a three-step ladder. It is to climb. The first step is Dvaita. Second step, Vasishtha Advaita. Third step, Advaita. Immediately all Advaita fellows see we are the top one. You know? What you need to understand is ladder can be reversed. You know that, no? Ladder can be put ulta also. Then what will happen? Advaita, Vasishtha Advaita and Dvaita. And then another person comes and says, ladder can be put horizontal also. You can do whatever you want with it. Depends upon you. So don't get into this, because that's one of the concepts which you need to understand here. Having studied Vedanta, you have to know what is this three schools of thought. And what you need to understand is when we say Vedanta, we mean all three schools put together. Right? People immediately say, sir, Vedanta means Advaita Vedanta. Which Vedanta you teach? People ask us. You teach Dvaita Vedanta or Advaita Vedanta? I told one fellow, I teach Brahma Vedanta. He said, what? Oh, you don't know that? And he couldn't say, I don't know. You know. So the fellow, yeah, I've heard about it. The fellow said, I said, yeah. So if anybody asks you which Vedanta you people are learning, tell them. Which Vedanta Vedanta class you fellows are attending? Brahma Vedanta. Say, what Brahma Vedanta is? Vedanta also you don't know, Brahma also you don't know. Please say. These three schools of thought. With that he concludes the chapter. So the sequence is coming up to the Trinity. The three schools just gets added on to it so that you understand the concept of Brahman explained from three different ways. Same supreme reality. Then what you can do is, this is the student's effort now. He has to go back to that first topic, the Supreme God. Indicative definitions of God. Indicative definitions of God given here needs to be studied from Dvaita, studied from Vasishtha Advaita, studied from Advaita. This, next you need to go to this idea, sir. Manifestations. What are all the manifestations, sir? How this is studied here, etc. This is the way. When we go there, I will explain more in detail. Okay. Right now, all that you need to understand is the sequence. So, how the chapters have been evolving and what is the content you have in this chapter. So, as you have been reading, remember this. When you are reading Law of Karma, right, use and abuse of religion chapter will look easy. When you come to theory of perception, Law of Karma will look easy. You come to illusions, theory of perception will look very easy. Law of Karma, use and abuse of religion, very easy, sir. Those chapters are very easy. This illusion is a real problem, sir. Rest are all easy for us to understand. Here we say, You come to the supreme reality, half the time will not be able to understand what he is speaking. So that's what we are experiencing from the first class. I can hear the mind voice of you people. Right. I can see that. This, you have understood the world is illusion. And you being part of the world, and world is nothing but all your experiences. All your experiences are illusory. If nothing that you can experience is of illusory, if everything is illusory, nothing is real, then is there anything called reality? This is where the student is stuck. That's what we see in the chapter. Topic, the Supreme God. Yes.
Chapter 20, the Supreme Reality. The Supreme God. The perceiver and the perceived, the individual and the world, the experiencer and the experience, everything, every being, everywhere is the ultimate reality, the Supreme God known as Brahman. There exists nothing other than Brahman. The entire phenomenon of the play of plurality, of things and beings, of names and forms, is a mere superimposition upon the one reality, an illusory projection upon Brahman. But the superimposition does not make Brahman any less or more. It remains the same, immaculate, infinite.
This is the first point you need to remember. First thing we understand here is the snake which is superimposed upon the rope does not make any difference to the rope. Right? It doesn't affect the rope in any way. So, what you understand here is the illusion will not affect the real. How? Why? That is a further explanation. So first thing we say is world is illusion, and this illusory world is to be superimposed on something. If the world which has come out of that, since this has come out of that, will that affect the real object? We say no, it doesn't affect. And that is the explanation we have here. Continue.
An invocation in the ancient text of the Upanishad pronounces this truth. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Translation: Om, that is infinite. This is infinite. Infinite has come out of infinite. Take away infinite from infinite. What remains is infinite. Adaha means that. That refers to the supreme reality, Brahman. Idam is this. This refers to the word, the pluralistic phenomenon projected upon Brahman. Brahman is supreme, infinite, inconceivable by the intellect. The world also appears infinite in nature. The world has emerged from Brahman. But Brahman is not any less. It remains the same, unaffected, unchanged. This truth is akin to lighting many candles from a single flame. Numerous flames arise from that one flame. Yet the original flame is not any less. It remains the same, unchanged. So it is with Brahman. The universe has emerged from Brahman, yet it remains ever the same. The infinite cosmos is drawn out of the infinite Brahman. What remains is infinite Brahman. As in mathematics, infinite minus infinite is infinite. Another example is that of numerous garments made of cotton. Cotton is spun into yarn, yarn woven into cloth, and cloth have come out of cotton. Nevertheless, cotton is not any less. Cotton remains as cotton, be it in its original state or in the variety of garments produced. These examples and illustrations serve as you
Start
the
reading
most
from.
direct and practical example is the experience of the dream. The phenomenon of the dream proceeds from the mind. The dream consists of the dreamer and the dream world. The dream world also comprises infinite pairs of opposites, things and beings, names and forms. The creation of the dream world does not render the mind any less. The mind remains just the same, unaffected, unsullied by the projection of the dream. In fact, all aspects of the dream are mere thoughts of the mind. The variety of thoughts have assumed these forms. As long as the dream lasts, the dreamer will not realize the insubstantial nature of the dream world. The dreamer experiences the solidarity, reality of the dream world, just as the waker experiences that of the waking world. Only when the dreamer crosses the dream world, wakes up into the waking world, the waker realizes the entire dream world to be a figment of his mind. Similarly, the waking world and its infinite phenomena are nothing but different aspects of Brahman. The waker does not recognize this truth as long as he is in the waking state, just as the dreamer does not realize the nature of the dream world while he is in the dream. But the moment the waker recognizes the self, Atman, Brahman, rises from the waking stage to self-realization, he apprehends the whole truth. That the waking world is yet another illusory projection, that Brahman alone is reality.
This is the message he gives here first. The invocatory prayer from this Isavasya Upanishad. A very unique invocatory prayer. One invocatory prayer which is totally different from all other invocatory prayers. Because generally these invocatory prayers will be seeking something from God. Right? Like Sahana Vavatu, may He protect us. Sahana Ubunaktu, etc., which we chant. Or Badram Karne Vishruniyama Devaha and all that. This is another thing that we seek. So let my limbs be strong, let this be, that be. So these are all reminders and these are all the ways in which invocatory prayers are. Preparation for learning. Whereas in this invocation itself, the teacher starts teaching the student. So it is not that after invocation the teaching begins. The teaching starts and it ends in the invocation itself. Rest of the Upanishad is just an explanation for that. Reiterating what is being given in the invocatory prayer. That is the Isavasya Upanishad. So they say Isavasya Upanishad is a commentary on the invocation of Isavasya Upanishad. So one of the most potent and so powerful invocation which just uses 3 words. The entire invocation, all that you need to know is only 3 words. Idam, Tat. Idam means this, Tat means that, Purnam. That's all. If you know these 3 words, you know the entire Upanishad. This entire invocatory prayer you will know. What is this? Purnam. Purnam means full, whole, complete, infinite. It has many meanings. The wholeness, the completeness is what is referred as Purnam. Now, this completeness, that what is spoken of here, is not the completeness that what is that which we understand or which we aspire. Because our aspirations of completeness is in the future. Sir, today I am incomplete. Tomorrow, by doing something, I am going to become complete. This is our understanding of completeness. Today I am a finite, limited, constricted, restricted individual. Through this spiritual sadhana, I am going to become infinite, unlimited, unrestricted, complete individual. Vedanta says no. The Isavasya Upanishad says you are complete now. But I don't know that. I don't experience myself to be a whole being. I experience myself to be a fractional one. I don't feel myself to be complete. I don't feel myself to be a person who is fulfilled. I experience myself to be a person who is unfulfilled, aspiring to become fulfilled. This is my experience of it. Now the Upanishad says, no, you are fulfilled. Where? Now. Right now. Now you are fulfilled. Already you are complete. Sir, if I am already complete, what I have to do? Nothing you have to do. But I am not experiencing myself to be complete. Why? Because you have just forgotten that you are complete. So, all that you need to do is what now? You don't have to strive to achieve completeness. All that you need to do is remember that you are complete. That is all your work is. But our ego will never feel happy with this. The ego wants to fight. It has to say that, I slogged, I reached, All those people, the first time rich, right, first generation, rich, you ask them, you sit and talk to them, no? They will talk about how much they struggle to reach where they have reached. And when they speak about that, you can see the pride in their eyes. There is a tremendous satisfaction. I strived, I struggled, I fought against so many odds, and I have reached wherever I have reached. I humbly say that, sir. I humbly say that. I achieved something. It's so interesting to see the egoistic satisfaction that we get. These masters will understand that. Why? Because they say your ego thrives on fight. If you cannot fight outside, you fight within yourself. But you have to have that fight, you got to be violent. It is not possible for you to be non-violent. There has to be that violence in you. Why? As long as there is ego, there will be violence. Only difference is whether the violence is directed towards outsider or directing towards yourself. Whether you are whipping the other person or you are whipping yourself. but whipping you must do. That is ego. Don't get angry with me. Don't say, why Ishwaran you are speaking so negative? There is no such thing called good ego, good people. There is no such thing called good ego. Ego and goodness can never go together. The negativity in you is ego. And then in that, how can you say there is good? It's like asking, in the bad bacterium, I'm going to give you a choice. Of all the cancers, which cancer you would like to have? You mean to say, Ishwaran, all that, 47 types of cancers, all those cancers are bad? Negative? It's not a single cancer cell which is good. Sir, the meaning of cancer cell itself is what? Don't talk about all that. Don't say all cancer cells are bad. Sir, cancer cell means, don't talk about all that. Now what can you do to that person? Exactly same way, your ego will get satisfaction only when it is striving for something which is impossible. More that impossibility, greater the kick for ego. Right? One thing which is impossible in life, what is it? Perfection. There is no such thing called perfection in life. When you say perfection in life, what I mean is, if you take a human life, your life is made up of what? What are you doing? From birth till death, what are you? You are somebody with reference to something, isn't it? With reference to government, you are a citizen. With reference to father, you are son, daughter. With reference to wife, you are a husband. With reference to husband, you are a wife. With reference to friend, you are a friend. So what are you, sir? You are just playing very many roles. You are playing the role of a father, you are playing the role of a brother, you are playing the role of a mother, you are playing the role of a sister, you are playing the role of a friend, neighbor, manager, subordinate, colleague, this. So many roles you are playing. Pick up one role and ask, is there anything called perfect husband? Is there anything called perfect wife? Immediately all men will say, correct sir, no. The wife Allah will wait for some time. They will look around before they give answer, If husband is not there, they will say yes. Husband will be in front of wife, so will say no. Is there anything called that? But what are we aspiring for? What are we striving for? You are striving, if at all you are striving to become a better husband, and then die. Thank God. Or else imagine, eternally you have to strive towards better husband. Now, at what point you are going to call someone or somebody as better husband, better wife? Is there anything? There's no such thing. Because betterment needs a reference point. First, I have to fix that. When I'm moving towards that, I'm getting better and better. Isn't it? We already fix my finishing line. When you start a marathon, you already fix a finishing line, no? I don't think any one of us start running like Forrest Gump. You know that, no? Forrest Gump. The fellow started running one day. Suddenly he got up in the morning from his house, started running. The fellow was running. And the best part is, this is the best part of the movie. Very, very philosophical. Suddenly one day he stops and turns around. He sees there are about hundreds of people following him, running. And the fellow stops and he says, I'm tired now. I want to go home. Now, everyone started giving ideas of their own. They said, he is running. He is running for what? One fellow said, he is running for world peace. Another fellow said, he is running for, global warming. Another fellow said, he is running for literacy. Another fellow said, he is running for this, running for that. But what was he doing? Nothing. Simply he was running, that's all. No clue. And what does it mean is, all that you have to do in life is, even if you have no idea what you are doing, keep doing it. You will find there are followers. And simply do. And all that you have to do is what? Just be there. And people will follow. Follow. Towards what? Can you say he was running for it better? Nothing. At least you have to say, I am running for fitness. You have to fix something. Now what ego does is, it fixes that somewhere in future. Right. And far the distance in future, greater is the enthusiasm of the ego to work towards it. Now Isavasya says, you are complete. When? Now. So do you have to strive to become complete? No. Then what you have to do? All that you have to do is just remember that you are complete already. That's all. Oh my God. I have to read the entire Vedanta treatise book for me to remember that I am complete. That's all. Okay. That striving is not easy. Remember. See, that incompleteness which is experienced by you will automatically trigger in you to seek completeness. And Isavasya says, you are complete already. You can understand this only when you go towards a master. That's why he gives this Isavasya Upanishad invocatory prayer. This invocatory prayer is given by the Guru. Guru statement that is. He says, you are complete already. For which you need to go near that master and learn from him. That's why it is called Upanishad. So first thing he says is the invocation of an ancient text called Isavasya. Isavasya, why the text name is Isavasya is because it starts with Isavasya Vidagam Sarvam. Therefore, the text itself is named as Isavasya Upanishad. Because these people are not interested in giving titles. They are not interested in the title of a book and all that. They are interested in the content. So, all that they have to say is what, sir? Isavasya Upanishad. Like another Upanishad starts with a story. Therefore, they says Katha Upanishad. Because it starts from Katha, story. Another Upanishad, it starts with a question. Therefore, so many questions the students pose. Pattu, they put questions to the Guru. Therefore, they say, what Upanishad is this? They say it is called Prashna Upanishad. Another Upanishad starts with Keneshitam Patati Preshitam Mana. What to do now for? They say this is Kena Upanishad. They don't care to give big names and titles and all that. They are not interested in the titles of a book. They are interested in the content. So that text Isavasya, which is a Upanishad. Upanishad. You go close, sit near, below. Upanishad. Not, it is not to be pronounced as Upanishad. It's not that. It is Upanishad. So many, take it like that. So this material reveals the truth. This Upanishadic teachings of the masters reveals the truth. What is the truth? This is infinite. That is infinite. That is infinite. This is infinite. Infinite has come out of infinite. Take away infinite from infinite. What remains is infinite. A unique mathematics. Beauty of maths. 1 minus 1, 0. 2 minus 2, 0. 1000 minus 1000, 0. 1 million minus 1 million, 0. 1 trillion minus 1 trillion, 0. Infinite minus infinite, don't say 0. It is indeterminate. You can't determine what is it. That is called infinite. Even if you take away this from that, it is still this. This is a fascinating teaching. For the teaching to happen, the student should go and surrender to the master. When the disciple, when the Shishya surrenders to the Guru, he teaches him this. And the student has already reached a point where he has understood this world is Maya. That he has understood already. Remember, that he has got. Now the question he is asking is, what is beyond Maya? And the teacher says, Purnamada Purnamidam. That is also infinite. This is also infinite. This is infinite. That is infinite. And any thing these people wanted to communicate, remember, it is Brahman is beyond Maya. Everything in the world is Maya. In fact, the world itself is Maya. Right? We have seen that in the last part. Swapna Simhavat. We have seen that. And we have said Vedanta has the uniqueness. What is Vedanta? This is Vedanta. Upanishads is Vedanta. The end portion of the Vedas, or the conclusion of the Vedas. What is Vedic conclusion, sir? Where will you find the conclusions of the Vedas? You will find that in the Upanishadic portion. That's why it is called as Vedanta. What is Vedanta? How Vedanta is in? Vedanta is in the form of a Shastra. The Shastras were given in the form of teaching. Teachings were happening, communications were happening in the form of teaching. Teachings were happening in the form of verbal communication. For a verbal communication, what is needed? Words are needed. Language needed. Without a language, without words, communication is not possible. And what they are attempting to communicate here, the subject of communication here, is so fine, so refined now. It is. You can see that even in the worldly transactions, you can see a tremendous amount of we call as specialization. Those days a student have to study MBBS and come out. That's it. Life is set. Now you ask those people who study MBBS, Those who are not studying MBBS, I'm talking about. Those who get into MBBS, they say, now you have become a doctor. We can start a clinic. I'm writing NEET exam again. I say, you passed exams, no? Now why are you writing NEET again? He says, no, sir. I wanted to specialize. MD. Is that all now? No. After that, they have to go into a super specialization. What is a super specialization now? I treat only the gums. Tooth I don't touch. Follow. Doctors. If you have any problem, like Swami says, there is going to be a time where we are going to have specialists who says, I can treat only the thumb finger, sir. Index finger, if there is a problem, don't come to me. My specialization is thumb. Why? How come? See, about 50 years back, what was the super specialized, speciality and all? Where was super speciality? All over the world, I am saying. There is no super speciality. Now we are having super special. Why? Because in that small area, we are able to see so much is yet to be explored. Isn't it? That's what is happening, no? With knowledge. As our horizon of knowledge goes on increasing, what we are coming to understand is, we know very little in that field. You see, that's why you don't find nowadays books of volumes, they're not written now. People started writing papers now. They just write one paper, that's it. They don't write books. Even if they write books, those books are very, very small now. You don't find books of that, like a pillow size. Huge books. About 50 years back, 70 years back, if you go, people were writing voluminous literature. Like Aristotle, if you take, that fellow has written on anything and everything under the sun. Sociology he will write, botany he will write, astrology he will write, philosophy he will write, mathematics he will write. Now, how can one fellow know? So, because the knowledge horizon at that time is limited. Now, with more and more learning, what has happened? We have started realizing how little we knew even in the small field. That's why it's a specialist. He says, I'm specialist only on the knees. That's it. I don't treat anything else. Don't come to me. If there is a hip replacement, don't come to me. It's a knee replacement, I will do. This I won't do. I don't do. Specialist. Why? So much is there. That is the way in which our knowledge keeps growing. For which, what is the foundation for all that? Foundation for the expansion of knowledge or acquiring knowledge is inquiry, investigation, probing, questioning. And what has happened to the student now? The student has been asking questions, and he has understood so many things, and then he questioned again. Like Swamiji says, two aspects he says, how to build intellect. He says two things. What, sir? One, don't take anything for granted. Two, question everything. 2 points to follow. That's it. Nothing else. Very simple. Formula is very simple. All that you have to do is, don't take anything for granted and question everything. So once I gain some knowledge, I question it. And what is interesting is, every bit of information, every bit of knowledge I gain from the world opens a door for 10 more questions. question keeps coming, keeps coming more and more and more. Now, as I keep questions and questions and questions, a point comes in his life, that inquirer's life, in that student's life, that all the answers that I have derived so far from the previous questions had led me nowhere. All the desires that I have fulfilled in my life so far has led me to the same point of incompleteness. I had that great desire to buy a bike when I was riding a bicycle. I saved money, I worked hard, saved money, got the bike. Then what happened? I started feeling I need a small car. Then what happened, sir? I worked hard, saved money, got a small car. And then same dissatisfaction. The dissatisfaction that I experienced when I was having a bicycle is the same dissatisfaction I am having when I am having a small car. This recognition when that fellow gets, that is a time he goes and surrenders to the Guru. You see, that is the meaning. Don't say when you say he has understood illusions, Naka, don't go out, don't think, oh, does it mean that he understood what is extrinsic illusion, what is intrinsic illusion? Not in that sense, please. Illusions in the sense, he has understood that incompleteness in me, with all the effort that I have put in the past, appeared to have given me that fulfillment, but sooner I settled down with that fulfillment, it disappeared. It disappears as fast as it appears. The same dissatisfaction which I experienced then is the dissatisfaction I'm experiencing now, believing that if I have a big car, I will be satisfied, I will be fulfilled. The same promise was given to me in the past. What? All that I require is just get a two-wheeler. 125cc should be enough. You don't need even the 365, 450 and all is not required, sir. 125cc bike is enough for me. I will feel satisfied, I will feel fulfilled. That same belief is what I am experiencing today. This appearance, you see, apparently promising me and taking me back to the same position, convincing me fully that this time I will promise it. That is why we say your mind is a perfect politician. Perfect politician is a mind. That's why, if you have a strong mind, you can enter into politics. If you have intellect, you can't go to politics. That is not possible. You need strong mind. What is it? Promise. All that you have to do is what? Just give promise. Like this fellow gave that promise. For every farmer, I will give 2 acres land. Even if you divide entire Tamil Nadu, there is no land. They give to the farmers. And the best part is people voted. That's the best part. What now? That's mind. All that it requires is what? Promise. You have to just promise people. That's it. Just give them the hope. Just give them the hope. You live your life just on hopes. Means what? You are living in life that future is going to be better. If nothing works, promise them in heaven you will get everything. You suffer in this world, right? All that is rejected and denied to you in this world will be abundantly supplied to the best quality in heaven. Therefore, suffer. And these people will suffer. Future is going to be better. Future is going to be better. That future can be this Janma, next Janma, or the future can be heaven, but nevertheless, it has to be future for ego. Vedanta is against it. Dead against it. Vedanta says, right now. We don't discuss about future here. Yes, the fulfillment that you are aspiring to achieve in future. You say, no sir. And this communication they are attempting to teach. How? Now, through that prayer, invocation. I have just introduced, I have not explained the prayer yet. Right. The invocatory prayer explanation I will give in the next class. Right. One of the fascinating mantra. You see this prayer. See. So that we will see in the next class. I am just preparing you to get there. So what is the mindset of a person who is listening? Today I have seen only this. I have just, in dots and dashes I touched upon the mindset of a person who is making the statement. You see, the one who is making that statement, from where he is coming, and the one who is receiving that statement, from where he is coming. Now we have seen only the person who is receiving it, receiver's end. Receiver's end is he has understood the world is illusion. When we say world is illusion, don't go back and say he has understood intrinsic, extrinsic and all that. He has understood all his attempts, all his intellectual beliefs that he has had, all the questions that I have asked, all the answers, all the intelligence that I have built, all that has led me to what? To the same position of what, sir? More doubt and more questions, more unanswered. All the desires that I have pursued in my life had led me to what? To the same state of dissatisfaction, unfulfillment, incompleteness. Does it mean there is no such thing called completeness at all in life? Is the mindset of the student. Remember that. Only if you are coming with that mindset, things will happen. Otherwise, this mantra, you will not understand a word of what it is. You will not be able to appreciate this mantra. You need to get at least temporarily into the shoes of that student, if not permanently there. At least temporarily try to get into his shoes. And then you have to see from the angle of the teacher, from where the teacher is coming. The teacher's position is a point where he has to tell something which he is experiencing, which is known to him. That same Brahman, that same completeness with which he is living, he has to communicate and translate that to the student, which is impossible to communicate. And to communicate, he needs a language. A language means all problems will start. Right? Words. But we are going to see that. How he succeeds in that. The Shastra succeeds in that attempt of communication. How does he communicate, sir? This one mantra communicates the entire material. Rest of the chapter is an explanation of that mantra. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Avasishyate. This is the mantra. We will see that in the next class. Thank you.